Hi, my name's Herman and welcome to my current in-progress Technomancer guide for Outriders. I'm playing completely solo, and we've managed to reach Expedition Rank 13 about 8 hours after hitting Endgame with this build, which is a Frost Sniper build I'm having a ton of fun with. Let's jump into it. Currently, for my main weapon, I am rocking the Landlubber Legendary Sniper Rifle. This thing, I got it to drop during the story, and it's been absolutely amazing ever since. It is not required for the build, but I do recommend it, as the Legendary Minefield mod, which does critical shots spawn explosives around your target, each deals damage in a 5-meter radius every 3 seconds, is a great way to supplement your AoE damage or deal with small groups of enemies without having to blow your big cooldowns. For our secondary mod, we have the improved freezing bullets. This inflicts freeze on enemies every 4 seconds, allowing us to keep enemies frozen even when our big freeze cooldowns are down. You can use basically any sniper for this build, although I would recommend a sniper with anything from 10 up in the clip size, as it makes it a little easier to keep blighted rounds up and keep that reloading over and over again, as opposed to something with 5 or 1. For our secondary weapon, we are using the Red Widow. This is currently the best secondary weapon I have found. You could use an LMG, an assault rifle, or any other weapon that is good at single target. Mostly, I use this one for taking down things like Broodmothers that I have a harder time hitting the critical spots on with my sniper. As Behemoths, we can take down with sniper shots pretty easily. Same with Crawlers and so on and so on. This, however, uses Claymore as its main source of damage for that, as Claymore is a giant single target nuke every 4 seconds on hit, and then it has vulnerability bullets on it just to supplement some of that damage. So yeah, basically any other automatic weapon that's good at dealing with single target could go in this slot. For our helmet, we're rocking the Broodmother mask, just the best helmet I've got so far. I'm currently rocking Painful Chill, which applies extra damage to all enemies affected by my Cold Snap, and I'm rocking Seismic Impulse, sorry. Seismic Impulse is generated every 6 seconds, dealing damage to enemies within a 5-meter radius around you. This one I have been messing with in the build. This happens to be what's on the helmet, and it works out sometimes. There are other runs it just doesn't impress me that much, so it's possible I might switch it out in the final iteration of this build, but at the moment the damage helps out and doesn't seem to be doing anything too bad, so it stays. The big part here is having Painful Chill, as having a little bit extra damage on the Cold Snap can sometimes get the next mod that I'm going to show you to trigger without having to do anything else. And that is the Icicle Storm mod on the Robe of the Borealis Monarch. This is the set that we are going for, as the set bonus is to increase weapon damage on frozen enemies by 10%. Also, crit damage is increased by 90% for all party members for 8 seconds after Cold Snap usage. I am so looking forward to getting that done and seeing just how much more damage I can deal with the full set. That being said, we are rocking Icicle Storm and Damage Absorber. Icicle Storm makes it so when you kill enemies frozen by Cold Snap, it explodes, dealing a crap ton of damage in a 5-meter radius. You can use this to one-shot giant groups of smaller enemies, and it's lovely. It's one of the main damage focuses of the build. This build focused on using blighted rounds for most of its damage, but I finally had a run earlier today where both my Icicle Storm and my blighted rounds did 34 million damage each. So my Icicle Storm damage has caught up with blighted rounds, which I did not think was going to happen. For our second mod, we're using Damage Absorber as just a means to be a little tankier, as I've tried running this without any tanky mods, and I die almost instantly every time. So this mod increases your armor and resistance and makes you just survive a little bit more. So it's kind of important. But this could be replaced with any other mod that kind of adds tankiness. For our bottoms, we're using this. It's got Spare Mag on it and Adrenaline. These are just the best pants I found. I wouldn't call them necessary other than the mods that are on it. Spare Mag allows you to get an additional mag out of blighted rounds before the cooldown triggers, which is great if you're like me and you happen to miss a couple shots every now and then, and you happen to end up reloading. For the secondary, we've got Adrenaline, which whenever your health drops below 30%, all your skill cooldowns are reduced by 50%. This is great for getting things like blighted rounds back up faster. Same with Cold Snap and your Cryo Turret. Having that big of a cooldown reduction in those oh crap moments is absolutely amazing, and I would not run this build without it right now. That could change in the future. For our gloves, we're using the gloves of the Borealis Monarch. It has the tier 3 mod Shatter on it, which deals 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by freeze. This was a huge pickup when we got it, as now we're dealing even more damage to frozen enemies, and it's glorious. For the second mod, we're using Trick Up the Sleeve. While active, killing shots grant you 30% extra bullets in your mag. This, coupled with our next secondary mod on our boots, allows us to never really have to reload against groups of smaller enemies. The only time I end up having to reload or I drop blighted rounds is against big bosses. That being said, on our boots, we are rocking Critical Analysis, which gives us 30% increased critical damage when we have blighted rounds active, and Toxic Lead, which killing enemies afflicted with Toxic will instantly replenish 40% of ammo in your magazine. Between that and the blighted rounds reload, I rarely run out of ammo in mass enemy situations. Like I said before, it's really only when I'm fighting single target bosses that I can't down within those 10 or 20 shots. So that's currently what we're rocking for all our armor on this build. The only things that are fully necessary are the Borealis Monarch set. These two with our Icicle Storm and with Shatter have been huge. Again, Landlubber you could switch out for any other legendary sniper rifle, or not legendary sniper rifle, but any sniper rifle with good AoE damage that you can put frozen bullets on. Moving on, we've got our skills, which are pretty self-explanatory. We're using blighted rounds, as the damage from blighted rounds is just absolutely ridiculous. We've got Cryo Turret to manage to freeze enemies. Now, this one you could swap out for the blighted turret, but it ends up being a little mod heavy to turn it into the frost turret that you want it to be to control the field. And Cryo Turret has a longer range, so with this build you're trying to sit back a little bit more, and that makes it a little more ideal than the blighted turret with the shorter range. So that way your turret and you can both be in the back freezing enemies and taking them down. Thirdly, we have Cold Snap, which drops the gadget to inflict freeze on all enemies, and that is what we get to trigger with Icicle Storm and blow up mobs. It's kind of great. Finally, for our skill tree, we are rocking the Tech Shaman path with a little bit into Pestilence. Pestilence, you just go up to the Sniper Master, as that gives you all the extra damage on your sniper, gives you more drops chance for snipers, and it's kind of great for any build rocking a sniper, really. Finally, we go down here and we got Overclocked, which is whenever you activate a gadget, you get increased anomaly and weapon damage by 40% for 10 seconds. And also for 10 seconds upon losing all health, you will receive a second chance to return to the battlefield with 50% of your max health. That I find great for solo play, as that way if I do get into an oh crap situation, I can have that second chance. For other key abilities to take on the tech tree, the only real one that you want to make sure you take is Exposing Frost. Every time freeze is inflicted on an enemy, vulnerable status is inflicted, and Marked for Execution, which is off of that. Vulnerable afflicted on an enemy is 40% more effective. And then you want to make sure to take both all three of the freeze talents as well, that increase your damage against freeze and make freeze last longer. Otherwise, you could go for more cooldown if you're finding you want your gadgets up more. You could go for more defensives, or you could go for more leech, whatever you really kind of want to do with it. I go for a little bit more defensives and then a little bit of the leech along with the frozen, and it works quite well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That is my current build for my Frost Sniper, and I will do an updated video when I have the full build together. If you guys feel like hanging out and watching some of the high tier gameplay, feel free to stop by my Twitch channel, which the link will be in the description down below. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Cheers.